We're proud of our country, mountains and streams. Our Jennian culture, our nation, our team.
Partnering with people who share your values is important. To achieve gold medals, you've got to put the hard yards in. The Jennian team share that pursuit of excellence, giving their best every day. And they get the results. Well done on 40 years, Jennian. Thanks for being the team behind the NZ team.
Morena koutou katoa and welcome to day 2 of the Jennian Homes New Zealand Track and Field Championships. We are live this morning from Newtown Park ahead of an exciting day of action as we build throughout the day towards certainly some marquee senior finals tonight, but we've got a range of events to cover to get through this morning. We will do our best to get a great level of coverage across events, but pre-warning, we will at times miss a few things, but it is wonderful to have you here with us this morning. The sun's out, the wind is slightly shifty, but we have had some legal winds already this morning as we have a number of field events in progress, including this under 20 men's high jump. My name is Sarah Cowley-Ross. It's a real privilege to be part of the Stream Shot production team that is bringing you this live stream over the championships, and it's a pleasure to be sitting alongside Mark Rosanowski this morning, who was in the commentary box last night for day 1. How are you feeling this morning, Mark?
Yeah, really good, Sarah. It's wonderful to be here, as you say, and I just wanted to get going because, you know, the anticipation is something. And, of course, we've had such a big year already coming off the back of the success of the New Zealand team at the World Indoors. But beyond that, and beyond the elite athletes we're going to see as we look ahead, is some of the youngsters coming through. And in the 100-metre heat shortly, in the under-20s, we're going to see in the men and the women, hopefully the next Zoe Hobbs or the next Tian Welpton or the next Eddie O'Sane-Ketia. We've got the 400-metre para finals, and with the Paralympics coming alongside the Olympics, we've got many good para athletes here as well. And in the field, we've got the under-16 triple jump and men's 20 javelin, as well as the high jump that we've already seen a shot of. So pretty exciting as they get to their blocks for first heat of the women's under-20 100 metres. So much to look forward to. We're not going to see Zoe Hobbs until 5:20 this afternoon, Sarah, with straight final for her. So that'll keep the crowd bubbling till then.
It sure will, and it will keep us bubbling till then, I can tell you that now, as we go to the 100 metres. And this is the first heat of 2 in the women's under-20.
Lots of great sponsors. Puma looking after the 100 metres at the Jennian Homes New Zealand Track and Field Championships. And here we have a field of 7. And Adira Collette will be one to watch here in lane 5 with a best of 11:57. Her twin sister won't be here, Shale, today, unfortunately, out with an injury, but some good quality amongst these two heats. Adira with that 11:57, Sarah, actually under the performance standard for the World Under-20s, although outside of the competition period. So an opportunity for her today to see if she can run close to that 11:70.
Yeah, a real opportunity. And all of these girls will be actually trying to get in a position to push for potential spots within the 4x100 metre relay program, the likes of Goldsmith in this heat as well, who's had a strong season. And that's a really awesome opportunity for the breadth of this junior sprinting program to come through.
So number 728 there is Anna Mansarova. 2:04 in the Auckland top Clio Loader in lane number 3. 5:08 is Adira Collette, drawn in the middle of this field, the only sub-12 second runner left in this heat. Neve Townsend outside of her in the Otago top, and Chloe Luo from Auckland is in lane number 7. So they take their blocks in the Puma 100 metre heats under 20s, and these finals will come up just after 5 o'clock this afternoon. Underway, and Adira Collette coming through the middle as expected here. Should be a comfortable heat winner of heat number 1 in the under 20s. And through into second, I think Neve Townsend. Adira Collette comfortable in heat number 1 as expected, the only sub-12 second runner here, and she's gone 12:05 here, Sarah, but very comfortable heat run, and she'll be saving up and looking forward to hopefully ideal conditions this afternoon in the final around 5:10.
Yeah, that's right, and you know, a really strong headwind to start for. It's a minus 2.4. That's a good run for Adira Collette in the morning in the heats, as Townsend from Otago 11:67. Lathwood 12:93. As we cross now to the men's under 20 high jump. Competitor from Tasman here. So the bar is at 2:05 in the men's under 20 high jump. We have 2 competitors remaining. Ben Walker, as we just saw on the screen, and Hugo Jones of Wellington. This is the women's under 18 shot put.
So as you can understand, with a number of field events going here and also the action on the track, we'll have our eyes and cameras everywhere as best we possibly can, but obviously we can only get so much. We'll do everything we can humanly possible. The result coming through of the first heat for the women's under 20, Adira Collette, the winner, 12:05, and Sarah mentioned the times for the place getters, Neve Townsend, Samantha Lathwood and Chloe Luo, 4th with 12:95.
So we've got heat 2 getting their blocks sorted right now, but just to give you an idea of what's going on right now, we've got a number of field events, as Mark said. The under 20 men's high jump, the under 16 discus throw, that's concluded actually, the men's long jump under 18, and the women's under 18 shot put as we go to the start list of the women's under 28 100 heat 2.
And looking forward to Marielle Venida from Auckland, 11:73, so not too far outside that under 20 performance standard time, with the World Championships coming up in Lima, Peru. And just trying to quickly update for my second heat.
So second attempts at the under 20 high jump. This is Ben Walker of Tasman. He's had a clear round until 2:05, and if he clears this, he will go into the lead. Hugo Jones has had 2 misses at this height. It's an unfortunate miss there for Ben Walker. This will be a PB height for him if he can get over it in the last attempt. Two Two competitors remain in that competition, Walker and Jones, as we see now the competitors lining up in the second heat of the women's under 20 100 metres.
.287, Marielle Venida will be looking for here. Georgia Gibbons, number 591, should be prominent as well. Just unable to find the update here. Here it is, Georgia Gibbons in lane 4, Marielle Venida in lane number 5, and Venida's coming through from Georgia Gibbons, and Tika Randall in third. First heat taken out by Dara Collette in 12:05. We'll see how this measures up. Marielle comfortable through the middle with a best of 11:73, running well within herself to qualify. And she's 12:05 as well, Sarah.
So game on. Game
Exactly.
on come 5 o'clock. And here's Hugo Jones. Third attempt, unfortunate miss for him. The men's under 20 high jump, and to go back to that under 20 100 metre heat 2. Unfortunate injury there for Tika Randall over the line. And she did have some strapping on her leg there, so we hope she's okay.
Great shame, because she did finish well, and she was in a photo there with Georgia Gibbons at the line.
So that final due to get underway at 5 p.m. later today, the women's under 20 100 metres.
Out at the shot put at the moment, and we'll be keeping an eye on that while we come to the conclusion of the men's high jump, with Ben Walker still an attempt at 2:05, but he is in front on countback, with Hugh Jones having had one miss. Hugo Jones had one miss at 1:97. And Ben Walker about to make his third attempt. And Sarah Cowley-Ross, you're far more adept at high jump than I am, so you can talk us through this.
Well, if Walker clears this height, he will take the win. But if he misses, we might be heading for a jump off. Oh, great attempt. That was his best attempt. Great. Really strong position into the bar there, but let's see what these men decide and whether they've got an equal scorecard right now.
I've got a miss for Hugo Jones on 197.
You do. Apologies. Apologies.
And there
That's
are handshakes being made, but
yeah, a good competition between Ben Walker and Hugo Jones there.
in the senior men's high jump, Hamish Kerr unfortunately won't be with us this weekend after his heroics taking the gold with 2 metres 36 in the World Indoor Championships, but certainly I'm sure he's inspiring the next generation, and I saw Hugo jump extremely well in Hastings with Hamish there, and I think that certainly lifted Hugo to, I think it was 207 that day.
Yeah, that's a wonderful achievement by Hamish Kerr. A couple of weekends ago in Glasgow had us all just so excited, and 236 is just incredible to think of. And you're right in terms of lifting the bar, quite literally and figuratively, for the standard of men's high jumping in New Zealand. And hopefully these guys have some more opportunities to have a nudge at that World Junior qualifying jump. But it's also an opportunity to say, hey, actually, if I miss this, Hamish Kerr actually didn't go to World Juniors. And look at him now. So
Yep.
A great competition there between Hugo Jones and Ben Walker of Tasman. As we are over also at the under-18 women's shot put.
Kate Halley leading that with 14.18 in her first round. She's had 2 fouls since then, but she is over a metre clear of fellow Auckland competitor Carmen Moritz and Carly Shirp from Southland with 11.80. In fact, no, 12.86 I see there has been Carly's best, and 13.74 Carmen's best. So actually not as far off Kate as I suggested there. What's that, 26, 36, about 46 centimetres behind Kate at the moment.
And this is a summary of the 2 heats of the under-20 women's 100 metres this morning. Both Vanetta and Adira Collette running 12.05, which will set us up very nicely for a final that is set to go at 5 p.m. tonight. Let's hope that wind just settles down and turns around a little bit and get these girls under 12 and running well.
Indeed, so with the perfect conditions, you would have to think if they're running 12.05 this morning in these conditions, and obviously within themselves, that perhaps that 11.70 world performance standard for the under-20s is well within the reach there of both Adira and Marielle.
Well, I think you've got a collective group working together to try and get that standard, and I think that's only going to push each other forward, which is brilliant, and which we want to see. You talked about the effect of Hamish Kerr, but also the effect of Zoe Hobbs on women's sprinting, of sprinting in general, and the likes of, in this under-18 shot put that's going on right now, 12 in the field, that's huge as well, and we've had icons within that event as well, and I think that all helps lift up the standard and the desire to want to compete.
We thought we might have to wait a long time for somebody to fill the massive void of Dame Valerie Adams, but Maddie Weshy, who we'll see later on this afternoon, is certainly doing an outstanding job. So close to a medal in the World Indoors, and she's had that ability, Sarah, which is just a beautiful ability for an athlete, to step up when it counts. World Championships, Olympics, and now World Indoors.
Yeah, and that started with a World Junior title where she threw a personal best in a 6th round, and Maddie has consistently delivered at major championships, which is so exciting. 4th at World Indoors. It'll be great to see her out here today at Newtown Park and deliver in front of her home nation. Not at her home track, but here in New Zealand.
Indeed, Puma 100 metres, men's under 20, heat 1 of 2, and AJ Madondo 10 and 64. He's had a really good season, saw him at the New Zealand Secondary Schools Championships. Also in here is a number with sub 11 second times, Ariane Willange, Ben Lambert, and also Sebastian Ferro, who all line up outside of AJ Madondo, who's in lane number 3. And in terms of the under 20 world performance standard, that is currently 10 and 50, so not a mile away from what AJ has been able to do, and we'll get to see Caden Taylor in heat number 2. Otago colours in lane 2, worn by Camilla McElray. AJ Madondo will be in lane number 3. Auckland singlet of Ariane Willange in lane 4, Ben Lambert in the yellow of Wellington, lane 5. Sebastian Ferro, Otago, lane 6. Leo Youssef from Wellington in 7, and the red and black of Jordan Veach in lane number 8 for the first of 2 heats for the men's under 20. No heats for the senior women, so Zoe's in a straight final this afternoon. Sarah, we do see Tian Welpton back in New Zealand, which is going to be a thrill very shortly in the heats. Yeah,
and I bumped into Tian just moments before we went live this morning. He's feeling good. He had a good sleep last night, he told me. He said it was a long flight back from Glasgow. But he's had a good training block over in South Africa this summer, where he's been based basically since November last year. And he's really looking forward to running. And he said, I said, oh, you're going to go 100% this morning? You're going to go 100? And he said, why not? So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, they've got a slight headwind at the moment. For one of those heats, it was more than a slight headwind. It does gust and swirl a little bit here, but looking forward to it being ideal. 5 o'clock and beyond for when these finals come up. So heat number 2 for the men's under 20. and our next generation of sprinters, we hope. And in AJ's case, very good jumper as well, of course. The vertical jumps, we'll get to see him in the triple jump.
So there's a windsock at about 80 metres, which we're judging off our visual wind reading as opposed to the actual official wind reading. And I can tell you now it has been all over the place, but we'll keep an eye on it.
And underway in heat number 1 with AJ Madondo making a slow start in lane 3, but he is starting to come through strongly now, and he will take the heat off that slowish beginning. Sebastian Ferro coming through for second in the Otago colours. Poor start there from AJ, but he certainly picked up mid-race there, Sarah.
Yeah, he did, and he did look like he just, once he got into a really comfortable upright running position and a beautiful form that he has, he certainly wasn't putting the full taps on this morning. But as we come to his time, unofficial 10.80, followed by Sebastian Ferro in the Otago colours, 10.98. And the win rating on that race, plus 0.8.
And when you look to the wind readings of minus, I think it was minus 0.07 and then minus 2.4 for one of those heats of the under 20 women, it shows you just how different it can be. And that windsock, when you mentioned it, was limp, then very quickly was no longer limp. And
yeah, I felt like I turned that wind around actually.
Yeah.
So this is why that athletes, when they are running for qualifying times or have the opportunity for, you know, a really nice wind, that they should absolutely be going for it, because you just don't know what lies ahead.
Go Media triple jump for the men's under 16, and a handful of 6 competitors here. Triple jump, one of your many fortes, I'm pleased to say, Sarah, because we're a heptathlete national champion amongst your, I think, 8 golds from 17 medals. You're not going to sky it, so I'll say it for you. And obviously representing New Zealand at the Olympic Games in 2012 and a couple of Commonwealth Games as well. How encouraged are you to see the numbers for the triple jump, and obviously the South African brothers who represent New Zealand, the Olivia brothers, who we will see over this weekend, which is going to be terrific. And again, I think it's another discipline where there is a rejuvenation.
Yeah, I love triple jump, and I came to it later in life, but I always loved it. And the Olivier brothers, they are such great competitors. And imagine going against your brother and exchanging the men's national record, bouncing it across each other, as we now see on the screen the men's under 20 100 metres heat 2.
And Caden Taylor in lane number 3, 10.75. Joshua Lotsu and from Wellington, 10.74, and a couple of other sub-11 second runners, and Ryan Schotter and Maxwell Stringer in here as well. That first heat, AJ Madondo, Sebastian Ferro, Ben Lambert third, and Arian Willange in 4th spot, looking to advance to this afternoon's final.
I will say that that is one event I'm really looking forward to, the men's senior triple jump tomorrow. Ethan last weekend got the resident record back off his brother Valray that he obtained at the International Track Meet in Christchurch at the end of Feb. So, you know, let's hope the steel tape comes out. And what's exciting also is that Ethan is actually an under 20 athlete. So he is eligible and willing and wanting to go to World Juniors in August, and he told me after the Olympics first.
Indeed, wouldn't that be great? Finished 4th from memory too at the last World Under 20 Championships, and only just taken out of a medal late in the piece, actually, if I remember correctly.
Correct. So game on as these young men line up behind their blocks.
Ryan Schotter there, number 472. Next to him, number 621. From Wellington. Just waiting for my on-screen field to update here. It's still stuck on heat number 1. They're underway. Caden Taylor in lane number 3. Ryan Shotter next to him. Caden Taylor coming through strongly here, and that was Joshua Lotsu, of course, in the Wellington singlet. He's come through in second place with Ryan Shotter third, and it'll be interesting to see Caden's time, but he was dominant in that heat, as you would expect, and he was from the start, and it's come up at 10:71. I thought, given AJ Madondo's start in heat number 1, Sarah, that 10:80 was a pretty good time, and Caden coming through in a 10:71 again. Another mouth-watering final this afternoon.
Yeah, can't wait. And that's a really good run in the morning from Caden Taylor. His personal best is 10:60. So not far off that wind on that race, plus 0.6. So again, we await a highly anticipated final later today. We'll have a short break now, but we'll be back with all the action from Newtown Park at the Jennian Homes New Zealand Track and Field Champs. We'll see you soon.
We're proud of our country, mountains and streams, our Jennian culture, our nation, our team.
Certainly like to congratulate Jennian Homes on their 40th anniversary. As a professional golfer, having my name alongside your name, I'm very proud of that fact.
Thank you, Jennian, for supporting emerging New Zealand golfers by enabling the Jennian Homes Charles Tour to exist. Your support of amateur and professional golfers in New Zealand has enabled us to travel overseas and compete on a world stage.
How do we get people to listen to us on the hits?
You should get comedians, you should get actors, you get TikTok stars.
Just people that aren't us.
Yeah, exactly. Just people who are famous.
You need to change your fashion.
So this stuff we're wearing now,
Oh no.
we need a catchphrase. Jono and Ben.
Like a mailbox.
Because they always deliver. Are we still on the billboard, or are we...
You guys are tiny.
Well, let's give it a go. Not so sure about this. Well, they seem to know what they were talking about.
Mornings are funnier with Jono and Ben. Weekdays from 6 on the hits.
Mai, hoki mai, and welcome back to the Jennian Homes New Zealand Track and Field Championships. This is day 2. I'm Sarah Cowley-Ross, and I'm joined by Mark Rosa.
Yeah, Rosa.
And we've got an exciting day ahead of us. Lots of field events in action this morning, as we have the men's under 20 triple jump going over on the back straight. Got a number of senior men 100 metre heats soon to take the track.
Jackson Hippie there with his jump. Siri was the second one into the pit. Timo McDonald of Auckland led off in a 10:51. How would you assess conditions for triple jump?
Well, this is always a bit of a tricky place to do horizontal jumps, Wellington, but a great place if you can really execute off the board and nail the right timing of when to start your run up. And I think that these competitors will be really looking to get into the pit with a white flag and try and get into that top 8. As we see this morning's results from the 3,000 metre race walk that concluded before our coverage started this morning, but a great performance there by some of our walkers.
Got a couple of exciting young walkers, Lucas Martin and Jonah Kropp, and they're obviously to the fore there. And Richie Trathen, just 17 years of age as we get back to the triple jump. Kayan Olsen into the pit as the third jump. I can tell you Jackson Hippie jumped 11:63. Not too far away on the track from 3 heats for the senior men's 100 metres. And obviously when they unfold we will bring those to you. In the meantime, plenty of action out there, including this men's under 16 triple jump. And the shot put out there as well for the women's under 18.
In second place with a time of 17.33.
See that Woodstock there, having a nice little party over there on the back straight. And as we see the medalists in one of the walks this morning, getting their medals from Trevor Spittle, one of our most senior official in New Zealand. And wonderful to see these walkers out here doing their thing as we arrived in the stadium this morning. As we go back to this triple jump, men's under 20.
Joshua Mitchell there from Tasman, the Go Media triple jump. Catching up on some results. If you're just joining our coverage, we've seen 2 heats of the men's under 20, and in the second heat, Caden Taylor set the time standard 10:71. Joshua Lotsu 11:01, Ryan Shotter 11:07, Kate Lambert finishing 4th 11:23.
So that men's under 20 final set to go at 5:10 this evening. We saw a couple of heats of the women's under 20. That will go at 5 p.m. as we now have Dante Manhanick.
That's what I was going with, Sarah.
Manhanick.
And we do.
Apologies to Dante's family if I've said your surname wrong. And we also, we would love to know if we are pronouncing your name wrong. Drop us a line in the chat. We're only human. We get it wrong, but we want to get it right.
Absolutely. So, yes, please. I reiterate that. In fact, somebody corrected me on a runner last night. Of course, we had the 5,000 metre finals here last night for the under 20 men and women and senior men and women. And Lorcan Rabbit, I had been calling him Rabbit, but a good source, a verified source, said Rabbit. And we will see Lorcan in the steeplechase today. And I'm really looking forward to those steeplechase races. Some small fields, but it's a fascinating event, the steeplechase. And of course, Geordie Beamish is once again bringing it to the fore in New Zealand. He's bringing lots of things to the fore at the moment. It's Geordie. 1,500, 5,000, 3,000 steeplechase. But he's a poster boy for a lot of running events at the moment. But that was just an example, obviously, where I thought I was pronouncing the right surname. And we'd much rather get it right than be ignorant for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. Ditto. Thanks, team. And this is Daquan Su of Auckland. This is the men's triple jump under 16. It's also great to have the under 16 fields amongst these championships now, and a real opportunity for our under 16 athletes to compete on the same track, the senior athletes around the same time, and have their opportunity to shine as well.
Certainly. Puma 100 metres. We're back at the top of the straight here with the first of 3 heats for the senior men's 100. Ethan Calder-Cass, local in lane 1. Joseph Miller. I'm just wrapped that Joseph's still running and providing an example to the young speedsters that are coming through. And he'll be in lane number 3. Multiple national champion, 10:70. His seed time, Hayato Yaneto's running really well out of Otago, 10:58. Looking forward to seeing Joe Dolphin take on the seniors here. New Zealand Secondary Schools championship winner over the 100 metres. Of course, his father, a national champion in his time, James Dolphin. So pretty interesting that Joe's taking on the seniors here.
Yeah, it is. And, he's also taking on his coach in Joseph Miller, which I think is pretty cool. Joseph's doing some great work coaching some young athletes, and it's great to see Joe Dolphin step up and say, hey, I want that World Junior performance standard of 10:60, and I believe that I can be pushed to that if I'm in the senior ranks. So, he would have had a good battle in that junior 100, so let's see what he can do, and up against his coach, and also really a great field of these heats.
Well, Joseph inspired me to bring my young son to Newtown Park. I said, Marco, let's go and see New Zealand's fastest man. and that was Joseph Miller at the time. We came here when he was beaten by Eddie Osai-Nketia, and so we got to see Eddie for the first time as well. So we weren't disappointed with Joseph, but we were introduced to a new star, Eddie, who of course has now moved to another sport, which is a little bit of a shame. But his clashes with Tian Welton was something to behold, and we look forward to seeing Tian very shortly. He's listed to be in heat number 3.
Those were just the medalists from the women's under-16 discus throw this morning. The two Auckland athletes having a great battle there as they can compete in multiple throws, and potentially if you go up an age group, like Joe Dolphin is doing right now, to get multiple opportunities to compete over these championships.
Now, I did mention Ethan Calder-Cass in this heat. He's not. He's down in the second heat. So Joseph Miller in lane number 3 with nobody on the inside of him. Heito Uneto, Kevin Syriac, Joe Dolphin, Kurt Sweeney and Hadley Edmonds. The runners in heat number 1, field of 6. First of 3 heats, the Puma 100 metre senior men's. And they're underway. Joseph Dolphin's come out well. Joseph Miller's come out really strongly through on the inside, and Uneto coming through as well. It's a good finish. Joe Dolphin possibly over Uneto, and Joseph Miller after that very good start in third.
Yeah, great run there by the young Joe Dolphin, age 18, running in the senior men's as we see that start there. Joseph Miller getting out well. A good battle between Uneto, Dolphin and Miller.
He really has been flying out of the blocks, Joseph Miller, in the runs that I've seen him following through the some of the classic meetings I've been able to get to so far this season. Perhaps he'd appreciate a 60 metres at national level at the moment, Joseph, but really showing them how to get out of the blocks.
Yeah, it's great to see, and actually it was Uneto that took that race, 10.82 from Joe Dolphin, given the same time, 10.82. From Miller, 10.97, but a stiff headwind there, minus 2.1. So we will see, just to remind you, the top 2 in each heat plus the next 2 best times will advance to the final later this evening at 5:30 p.m. There are 3 heats, and we see now heat 2 on your screen.
Just giving you the competitors in Heat 2 about to go to their blocks of this senior.
So John Gerber out of Otago, 10.61. Should be to the 4 here. Johnny Key next to him. Samoan athlete, 10.72. Joshua Adegoke is around the 11-second runner, is in lane 7. Remy LeBrun from Tasman in lane number 8. So Ethan Calder-Cass is in this heat.
John Gerber has had some great 400s at the National Track and Field Champs over the years. It looks like a CrossFitter, but has gone down to the 100, and in 2022 he took out the national 400 metre title, but he set a PB of 10.59 earlier this month. We'll see what he can do in heat 2 of the senior men's 100 metres.
Really competitive in the Otago area at the moment, the 100 metres. We've just seen Heito Uneto take out that first heat, and of course Shea Veach will see in the long jump pit later. Very quick 100 metre exponent himself, has a national title on his CV.
Wonderful sprinting history from Otago, the likes of Chris Donaldson, our former national record holder, Olympian, Commonwealth Games finalist, and they'll always show up for a 4x100 metre relay, Otago.
John Gerber in lane number 6 is away pretty well. Just underneath him, Johnny Key going well, the Samoan athlete, and Jackson Rogers, another Otago sprinter. Gerber will win this, and coming through for second, Jackson Rogers, the Otago teammate, will come through for second, ahead there of Johnny Key.
start from in the middle lanes of the track there, Gerber and Johnny Key of Samoa, but it was certainly Gerber coming home in 10.68, minus 0.5 there in that heat. Jackson Rogers 10.88 and Johnny Key 10.93.
So he's laid down a marker there. Here's John Gerber, and Sarah mentioned with his 400 metre form and the fact he's got some speed, and you can see the strength in his upper body. Gerber, he's sprinting really well this season. Jackson Rogers 10.88, 2/10 down, and Johnny Key, Samoan athlete, dipping under 11 seconds. Joshua Adegoki home in 4th there. Puma 100 metres, senior men's, and we have a third and final heat upcoming, which does feature Tian Wellington, the favourite for the national title, 10.14. His best, of course, the Olympic qualifying standard, Sarah, a scarcely believable 10 flat.
Yeah, it's no joke for men's 100 metres. And it's a very difficult task, but a task that Tian Weltman is certainly capable of. He had a great showing at World Indoors just recently in Glasgow. It was wonderful to see him on the world stage as we look now to the tall figure of Weltman, competitor 4.17. And he's got a bright future ahead of him.
Good to be able to see him this domestic season, with him being training offshore in his country of birth, South Africa. Local runner Tyrone Trigo next door to him. Tyrone's been running really well locally. 10.81 his time coming into this. Cody Wilson, another Wellingtonian who's really skipping along, 10.57. Saw him running second to the Australian Jake Doran at the Potts Classic in Hastings, where Jake actually lowered the meet record of Gus and Kedia, Eddie's dad, which was pretty impressive stuff.
Yeah, great to see Cody Wilson having a really good season. But this is the first time we will see Tian Weltman in New Zealand competing for 2024. Had a stint training with Henry Creel in South Africa. But let's see what he can do.
So Tian Weltman, lane 6 in the Canterbury colours, the red singlet. And he's underway comfortably enough and quickly establishing a break. Cody Wilson closer in lane number 3, coming through in second, and Tyrone Trigo will be third. And we look forward with interest to the time, which has been coming up pretty quickly. But Sarah, very comfortable run from Tian.
Yeah, really tidy from Tian. He gets out so nicely and then upright running. Slight headwind for these gentlemen with minus 0.1, but Tian Weltman 10.54, Cody Wilson 10.68. The graphics there on your screen, 10.91 there for Tyrone Trigo of Wellington. So that final set to go 10 point, oh sorry, not 10 point, well hopefully it'll be 10 point.
Yeah.
5:30 p.m. tonight, don't miss it. Hopefully you'll only have 10 seconds.
That's right.
So you don't want to miss it.
And right off the back of Zoe Hobbs in the straight final for the senior women's, and really looking forward to the under-20 finals as well, with the heats that we've seen so far, because they are far from foregone conclusions in terms of results and medals there. And just on Tian, of course, he did go to the World Indoors, and he very nearly made it through to the second round. I mean, obviously in a 60 metres indoors, it's going to be dead close. Everyone's going to be not far away, but he genuinely was very close to going through to the next round. And I just felt a little sorry that he just wasn't able to. He probably ended up in the wrong heat.
Yeah, you're right, because he finished faster than some of the big queues, we would say. But valuable racing experience for Tian at that level, his first time at a senior major world championships. And I'd say he really stepped up to the mark. And we don't have an indoor track in New Zealand, so it is a different kind of feel, it's a different kind of racing. And speaking to him this morning, he said, I'm really hungry to do more 60s. You know, he's always been well known for his ability to produce so much force in that first half of the race, and the battles that you alluded to with Eddie Osana-Ketia. Tian and Eddie were always, neck and neck between that 50 to 70 range, and so it will be great to see what he can do later this evening. 5:30, you do not want to miss it.
Nico, 400 metres. Got para athletes here. The women's 400 metre para with Sasha Aldazani from Taranaki, Sarah James at Canterbury, and Gabrielle Wright, Auckland, and T38 for Sasha. T53 athlete is Sarah, and T54 Gabrielle. Just quickly before we concentrate more on that, Sarah, just having a look at these finalists here with Tian Welpton, John Gerber, Cody Wilson, Hayeto Yaneto, Joe Dolphin, Jackson Rogers, and the two fastest of the little Qs, as you put them very nicely, Tyrone Trago and Johnny Key to make up that 8. And unfortunately, Joseph just missing out on making another national final, Joseph Miller.
Yeah, Joseph Miller, he's had a distinguished sprinting career in New Zealand, so unfortunate for him to miss, but I'm sure he'll be pretty happy to see his young charge there, Joe Dolphin, make his first senior final and see what he can do against the likes of Welpton and Cody Wilson this evening. Now, right now we have two field events in action. We have the men's under 20 javelin throw, which you are seeing right now. And we also have the men's under 16 triple jump. So they are in round 3 at the triple jump, and the javelin is just getting into their work for competitors, and round 1. This is Tyler Bradley.
And again, just to note that obviously we can't keep you up to date with absolutely everything. We do our very best to cover off as much of a mix as we possibly can out there in the field. You can follow the results on Athletics Live, which is probably the best way to do it if you want to follow somebody in particular there in the field, and obviously we'll bring you results as we can as well for some of the events that have been completed. Just that women shot put under 18. I see Carmen Moritz came through to pip Kate Halley, both of Auckland, and 14.29 for Carmen coming through in the last rounds. That's a clutch put from her, Sarah, over Kate Halley, and that was in the women's under 18. And if I remember correctly, back to some really foul weather on one of the days at the New Zealand secondary schools, and the same putters turned on a really good show then, and they've done it again today.
Yeah, wonderful to see, and who doesn't love a clutch throw in the 6th round? Reminiscent of what we were talking about this morning with Maddie Wishy. But some fantastic throwing there by those competitors. The sun's out at Newtown Park. We've got the javelin throwers in action, men under 20. That's Connor Brown of Waikato Bay of Plenty, who you just saw. As we await the start of the para 400 metres.
3 competitors here, and competing against the clock and in their own categories. Sasha Aldazani, T38, track 38 category in lane number 3. Sarah James, T53 out of Canterbury in the red singlet, and Gabrielle Wright out of Auckland at T54 will be in lane number 5. Big year for the para athletes as well, of course, Sarah, and we have a number of our top para athletes here across this weekend. Looking forward to seeing their progress as they look forward to the Paralympics for the elite athletes.
Yeah, wonderful to have the Paralympics, follow the Olympic Games in Paris in August, September, and the likes of William Steadman, who we'll see shortly in the 400-metre heats, will certainly be using these championships as an opportunity to make some real gains in his competition schedule. We've got a wonderful para program and it's integrated, which is fantastic. There's real opportunities to be involved, and you can do that by going to your local para-fed or contacting Athletics New Zealand about opportunities within the para program, because it's wonderful to have the opportunity to include all bodies.
And Sarah, because of the performances of some of our elite para athletes, they've become household names as well. The likes of Lisa Adams and Holly Robinson and Anna Grimaldi, Daniel Atchison, who will serve this weekend as well, which is a great thing, because it's para athletes that are also names that are bringing people here to Newtown Park today, or to the classics or the local domestic events, or like the Sir Graham Douglas last weekend.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story. Is that my daughter, a lady she met in the week, was called Danielle, and she said, "You stole your name off my athlete friend, Danielle Atchison. You're not allowed that name." And I thought, isn't that great that she's having that recall of, she's only 5, but she knows that Danielle is a sprinter. She doesn't know that she's a para athlete. She just knows she can run fast, and she has been running super fast, with the hope of potentially a world record later today. And again, she is chosen to potentially line up in the senior women's 100 metres as opposed to the para 100 metres, for the opportunity to go against some able-bodied athletes.
Just some of the many highlights provided across this weekend of competition at the Jennian Homes New Zealand Track and Field Championships. The para athletes to the fore, and taking centre stage on the track right now in the 400 metres para, with Nikau Cafe, an award-winning cafe in the heart of Wellington. If you're in the capital city, they've been providing awesome support to this event, Nico, and hosting the officials' dinner as well this year.
This will be an interesting handicap to see whether the wheelchair athlete will get up enough speed to catch the lone runner. That's Sasha Al-Dazani,
who is stretching out down the back, and then the wheelchair athletes winding up. Sarah James in second, and Gabrielle Wright. Of course, they're in their own individual categories, and although I'm no expert on the para, Sarah, but their result, their time, is weighted as a percentage against the world record, as I understand, and come up with an official time so that they can be effectively weighted against each other.
That's correct, and there is a lovely algorithm that does that, and depending on the classification of the athlete will depend on that percentage as well. Now the question is, will Sasha hold off a fast finishing Sarah James here from Canterbury on her outside? But this is a brilliant run by Sasha Al-Dazani, with Sarah James coming. Can she do it? Unfortunately not.
Outstanding.
And that was a great target that she had. And Sasha Al-Dazani and Gabrielle Wright there, the Auckland athlete, crossing the line in third. But again, as Mark has explained, we will await the time versus the percentage of the world record dependent on their para classification as we see this replay here.
It's very little in that, Sarah, but Sasha Al-Dazani credited with 1:15.13, and Sarah James a tenth of a second slower, 1:15.23, and Gabrielle Wright 1:17.96. Thought it was a great run from Sasha. She was really strong down the back straight. I think we both know how tough the last 100 metres is in a 400, and she really hung in there.
Oh, 400 is absolutely no joke, and that's a great performance there by Sasha. And also Sarah James really driving through her wheelchair there to come across the line. And just look at the windsock on the back straight now, and it is a pretty stiff headwind. So a great performance there as we look now to the men in their para 400 metres. We still have the men's under 16 triple jump in progress. They're in round 4, we think. This is Dante Hinnick.
Dante leading with his first round jump of 12.32 fouls since. One of those fouls was with a plus 1.6 compared to his first jump of a minus 1.3, Sarah. And I guess that can, obviously you want that tailwind, but it could also tip you over the edge.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of stepping over the board.
Yeah, it's a real steering. You need to steer really well into the board when you have the wind changes like this. And it's a really good opportunity to practice, because this happens in stadiums, this Coliseum type track where the wind can just whip in and change all of a sudden. This is competitor 733, Jackson Hepe of Waikato Bay of Plenty. He's had an 11.92 in round 2.
Nikau 400 metres, and para athletes, the men's para 400, and Sarah mentioned William Steadman, and we get to see William here in his Canterbury singlet with time of 53 and 55. Joshua Taylor 101.97, Albert O'Brien 121, Lucas Pedersen 121, but of course, as we mentioned earlier, it's about what they can record as a percentage of the world record. William Steadman, T36. Joshua Taylor is a track and field athlete, 20. T20, Albert O'Brien, and T54, and a field 55 athlete is Lucas Pedersen from Waikato Bay of Plenty, in the wheelchair in lane number 6, a field of 4.
So the para-athletes also have World Championships as well as the Paralympic Games this year. World Championships being held in Kobe in Japan. And currently William Steadman has qualified in the 400 and the T36, as mentioned, that is his categorisation, and also the long jumper. The long jump as well, one of his events. Good combo, 400 and long jump, as we see what he can do here on the one lap at Newtown Park.
And they're underway, and William Steadman making up that stagger quickly, as we expect here, and he's going very strongly into the back straight, where he may have a slight tailwind, although the windsock has just sprung to life in the opposite direction, and he may get the wind in the front straight if it keeps like that. It does swirl around here at Newtown Park, but blessed with fine conditions at the moment.
Will just looks really strong here as he comes into the final 100 metres of this para 400 metres. This is William Steadman. He is an impressive world level, Olympic level athlete. And we will await his time as we see now Joshua Taylor, the Wellington athlete.
And Lucas Pedersen coming through in lane number 6. And Albert O'Brien of Wellington about to come through. And the para athletes being really well received by the large crowd that's gathered here at Newtown Park, that will only build as we continue our day at the Jennian Homes New Zealand Track and Field Championships. We're about to wrap up our first session. Nice little warm-up for us, Sarah. We've seen some really impressive 100 metres. We've seen some really impressive para 400 metres. But this afternoon we have 800 metres at 1:15. We've got series of steeplechases this afternoon and this evening, which will be outstanding. One of the highlights on the track later, clearly the 800 metres. Senior and under 20. Senior women's looks really competitive field. Defending champion Alison Andrew Paul's there. James Preston versus Sam Tanner, we're really looking forward to. And there's some really good field events coming up later too, including the women's shot put. And we also have the men's long jump, which looks really competitive. And Anthony versus Anthony in the hammer throw will be a really nice conclusion to the night. That's the last field event tonight, and I'm really looking forward to it with Anthony Novolo up against Anthony Barnes, who's come back from the United States and is now a plus 70 metre thrower.
Yeah, well, it could be the first time that we see 2 times 70 metre throwers in the same, Kiwi throwers in the same competition. And I can't wait for that. Maybe we'll have to turn on these brand new lights. And we will be back shortly. But it's been a wonderful morning. And we'll be back on air at 1 o'clock. Mark, thank you for your company. Thank you to the athletes and the officials who have done a stellar job this morning. We're building into a wonderful afternoon. You don't want to miss it, and we'll see you shortly.
Until the